Okay, let's actually start with this now after delaying it for an hour and 40 minutes. Okay. There's a 350 movies tier list. Seems pretty comprehensive. Obviously, it's not going to be everything. There are more than 350 horror movies in the world, but it seems to be covering a lot of the big-ish ones out there. Extra. I've actually fucking seen Extra. Extra is weird. Okay, so let's start with 1408 is B for now. I might change my mind later, but I remember it being pretty creepy. It's a Stephen King adaptation with John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson about a haunted hotel room. I think it's based upon the thing in LA, the deadly hotel, the Cecil. I think it's meant to be based upon that. I don't know where it was filmed. Was it filmed in the Cecil? It'd be kind of cool if it was. I can check in IMDb, which is what I'm doing now, but Roosevelt Hotel in Manhattan. Okay, so it wasn't there. But yeah, essentially, the twist on it is that John Cusack's character is a guy who specializes in like debunking paranormal stuff, and he goes into the 1408 room, and then to prove like, hey, look, nothing happens. This is just a regular hotel room. Nothing's real. Hauntings unreal. All this kind of stuff. And then the twist is that horror stuff does actually happen to him, which is pretty cool. Obviously based on Stephen King books, so it is Stephen King-y. You can't. After The Shining, he's not gonna give people free reign to do what they want with his scripts anymore. So all of his movies kind of have a bit of a sameish feel since then. But if you like Stephen King and if you like that kind of tone, you're going to like 1408. I liked it well enough. I think it's got some creepy bits to it. It's spooky in enough areas. John Cusack's really good. Samuel Jackson's really good. Yeah, and then 28 Days Later, I'd put that there as well. I like it. I like it for what it is. It's got cool running zombies, which makes things different and new. The opening of it's great, as I'm sure a lot of people know and a lot of people have seen. Probably one of the most interesting parts about it, but other than that, it didn't speak to me a lot. It didn't speak to me to the extent that it speaks to a lot of other people, and that's fine. Never actually watched 28 Weeks Later. I know it's meant to be good, and people should watch it, but I never saw it. Nightmare on Elm Street, S tier, easy, great, one of the best horror movies ever. Incredibly influential, incredibly important. Kind of a bit of a deconstruction of the horror genre that Wes Craven liked to do. He took the slasher elements that were seen in like Halloween and Friday the 13th and myriad of others, and tried to like create like a new, clever, creative twist to it that's also creepy. That's the thing about Nightmare on Elm Street. It's actually creepy when a lot of the other ones just aren't. A lot of those other slasher movies from that period just aren't that scary, and Nightmare on Elm Street actually is. Okay, Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is a very weird one. Like, it's not very good, but I respect the queer coding in that movie so heavily that I don't know if I want to give it more props than I should. What was that documentary that they did? Documentary Nightmare on Elm Street gay. What is it called? What is it? Yeah, I see things about it. What's it called? Scream Queen. That's what it was called. I watched this. It's great. It's a documentary just about the main actor, Mark Patton, who was he's best known from that Jimmy Dean, blah, blah, blah. And he was in the Freddy's Revenge, where he was touted the first male Scream Queen, because he was a gay actor. And character plays was a pre-transition teen transgender woman. Not allowed to do interviews with LGBT because identified as an early indicator of homophobia. Yeah. Yeah, because he was gay in real life, and he got AIDS in 1999. In 1999, but he was gay, and he got a lot of hate for that. But the movie itself was very, very heavily queer coded. So that's the thing I respect most about the movie. Other than that, the movie is just like fine. Yeah, I put it there. It's fine. It's really nothing to write home about, besides just the interesting queer coding and how much the writing about the movie is more interesting than the movie itself. Dream Warriors, I know people love Dream Warriors. It's fine. I don't actually think it's that great. I don't know why people are head over heels about it, but all of these are bad. None of those are interesting at all. I can't really say much about them. They all are pretty much the same thing. New Nightmare, though, is very interesting. New Nightmare is kind of proto-Scream because it's set on the set of a new Friday or New Nightmare on Elm Street movie, where Freddy starts haunting the characters within the movie that they are making. So it was Wes Craven trying his hand at the metatextualness that he will later perfect with the first Scream movie. Freddy vs. Jason is better than people remember. It's dumb. It's very, very dumb. It's kind of stupid in a lot of ways, but it gives an actual reason for why Freddy and Jason would be in the same world, in the same universe. And it gives them both enough screen time, and it actually commits to giving a winner, which I think is ballsy and interesting. And it is the perfect level of stupid for what it should be. It's not any worse than you want it to be, I think. So I like it. I like Freddy vs. Jason. And then New Nightmare on Elm Street's just terrible. There's nothing good about it. The creature design is good, but why would you not get Robert Englund? Like, he's still alive. You could have got Robert Englund. But they're just like, no, fuck you. We're going to go with this new guy and just make him look weird and lame. And just... They went very heavy-handed into the child molester element of it, which I think was probably the most interesting thing they did about it. But even then, it's not that good. So... It's really a bad movie. It's badly written, it's badly acted, it's not interesting. It's just like any other slasher movie from that period of time. Shot badly, looks bad, but it has Freddy in it. That's the only thing that makes anyone remember it. If it wasn't a Nightmare on Elm Street movie, no one would talk about it. Alien is S. It has to be. It's one of the best things ever. I love the set design. The look, H.R. Krieger's look of the alien is amazing. It's still, I think, my favorite Ridley Scott movie. I prefer it to Blade Runner. I think it's amazing. I think it looks great. I think it's shot great. Ellen Ripley is one of the best characters in all of cinema. The lazy answer, if someone wants to give an example of a badass female character, you go to Ellen Ripley. It's shot great. It's got the perfect bit of people jumping out, people being lost at the right amount of time. They know when to whittle down the characters. They know which characters to whittle out. Beautiful. As I said, H.R. Krieger. If it wasn't for H.R. Krieger, the movie wouldn't be as good as it was. But, we live in the world where we got the right thing. Sometimes good things happen to good people. This is one of those times. Fuck, Aliens. I don't love Aliens. I like Aliens. It's good. So I'm going to put it there and draw the wrath of 1,000 people. Because it's fine. It's good. Solid Vietnam aesthetics within the realm of an alien movie. It turns Ripley into an actual badass action hero, which is cool and fun and an interesting idea. I much more relate to the horror aspects of Alien because we're making a horror tier list. I'm making an action tier list, and I'd say Aliens is much more. This is not me ranking it as a horror movie because it's not a horror movie. It may be further down. This is just me ranking it as a movie, and as a movie, I think it's good. It's a good movie. Not great. I don't think it's amazing in any way, shape, or form. Sorry. Alien is much better as a movie than Aliens. Only people who disagree with me are action fans and 80s kids. Alien 3. I'd put it there. It's not great. I like the aesthetic of the prison sequences a lot, but other than that, I don't think it really does a lot. With it, the characters aren't really interesting. I hate that they kill Newt and all the other people in the beginning of it. I understand why they did it, but it was a bad decision. And who was that? That was David Fincher, right? It was his first movie, but he disowned it. And then, yeah, fucking Alien Resurrection is bad. It's so weird. That's also good. That's the director of Amelie did that. I can't remember his name. It's like Jean something. They get great directors to do these movies, and none of them come out well. Prometheus is an interesting one. I like Prometheus. I haven't seen it actually in a very long time. Probably been like 8 years since I've seen Prometheus. I saw it in theaters and then I watched it again at home a couple years later. And I like the ideas in it. I like them trying to expand on the alien lore, even though I think they did it in a way too complicated way for its own good. But saying that, it does have very interesting set designs, it has interesting ideas, and Michael Fassbender carries that movie hard. So, and it's also very dumb. It thinks it's smart, but it's dumb. I think that's its biggest flaw, and I think that's why a lot of people rejected it. I would like to watch it again and give it another shake to see what's new, but yeah, for the most part, it's not amazing. The same with, I liked Alien. I like that Alien Covenant. They try to be a bit scarier, but it's actually a worse movie overall because of that. I'd actually prefer Freddy vs. Jason to Alien Covenant. Alien Covenant's a better produced movie. It looks better. It's got a better budget, but Freddy vs. Jason's cheesy, stupid fun. Alien Covenant is scarier, which I liked, but other than that, it suffers from a lot of the same dumbness that Prometheus has. It just introduces horror elements to it. AVP. Yeah, I'd say it's there. It's stupid. It's very stupid. I don't hate it like some people. So I'd put it there. It's worse than Freddy vs. Jason for sure. Actually, no, it's not. It's a D. I'm sorry. It's not great. It's pretty bad. But it's very stupid, schlocky fun. It's not as... The reason, like, Freddy vs. Jason is at least exciting all the way through. It's dumb fun, but it's exciting all the way through. AVP is too slow. It's too serious for its own good, so you don't get a revel in the actual fun of the two creatures fighting each other for the first time. And I'm also not the biggest Predator fan. Then AVP 2 is just awful. You can't even see what the fuck is going on in that movie. It's shot fucking terribly. You can't see anything. Like it's not just the fact that it's dark in like trying to create some tone and atmosphere. It's too dark in the sense that you can't fucking see what's going on. It's bad. American Psycho. I love American Psycho. I guess it would be a horror movie. It's a great satire and critique of like yuppie culture during the time and hyper-capitalism and how it just turns people into absolute monsters. And if you are constantly in the mindset of just trying to chase profit and trying to chase wealth and the status for yourself, you eventually lose sense of what being a human is, and you're just you're just interested in the idea of aesthetics and wealth, and that's it. And if you just chase that ladder far enough, you just lose what it means to be a human, and at that point, why not murder? That's the kind of point that it's going for, and it's great. I love American Psycho. I think it's one of the first big Christian Bale performances that he had, and he's great in it. I mean, I know he worked with Spielberg when he was like young. No, that was the other one. That was Daniel Day-Lewis. I never saw American Psycho 2. I want to. I know everyone says it's bad, but I kind of want to see it. It sounds interesting, at least making a female version with Mila Kunis from that 70s show. Anaconda, I don't really remember. I've seen it, I know I have, but I don't remember enough about it to really give it a fair shake. American Werewolf in London. Yeah. It's a lot of the American Werewolf in London love comes from the transformation sequence, which is fair because it is that fucking good. It is one of the most legendary sequences in all of film because of that. That's why the movie is remembered to this day. I would like them to actually remake. I think that would be a great movie to remake. Maybe. Because there's a lot of interesting parts about it, but I think the movie's actually a lot slower than people remember. There's not as much going on in it as I think people remember in their head because they just remember that one scene and how good that one scene is. But I'd like to. I want to give it another fair shake. It's been a minute since I've seen it. Annihilation. Annihilation was a movie I was really high on when I watched it. When I first watched it, and I still remember it pretty fondly. I haven't seen it since it came out in theaters. I watched, it was Netflix, right? Yeah, it was a Netflix movie, but I watched it in theaters because I was in New York at the time. And I really liked it. The bear scene was fucking terrifying and good. I liked the imagery of it a lot. It was just kind of like a horror twist on Stalker and a much more modern, dumbed down version of that. But I liked it for what it was. Derek Garland was definitely trying something. I liked it more than Men, which I don't hate Men. I think that should have been directed by a woman. I know Derek Garland's a basketball player. Alex Garland. I know he has a lot of very hefty ideas. He's a very smart man. And he's trying things, but Men definitely should have been directed by a woman. I never saw Apollo 18. First, A Quiet Place is good. Is better than Annihilation, I'd say. I like it a lot. I think it's very creepy. I wish I saw it in theaters. Hi, Gino. Hi, Gino and friends. How you guys doing? We're doing a tier list of all of 350 horror movies until I go to a Rammstein concert later. I was talking about A Quiet Place. I liked A Quiet Place a lot. I did see it in theaters, and I wish that I had the experience that a lot of other people talk about, because when I watched it in theaters, everyone was not like super quiet and like being cautious. Everyone was being an asshole and like laughing and chewing loudly and chatting and all that. So I didn't get that like great enclosed experience that a lot of people talk about when they talk about watching A Quiet Place. And I watched it again at home. I liked it again still. It's a good movie. It's solid. John Krasinski did a good job directing it, I think, and he did a good job acting in it. As Above, So Below, I know is a big hole in my horror filmography. I want to watch it. Same with Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Audition. Audition is fucking amazing. Don't read anything about Audition going into Audition. Just go and watch Audition. It is amazing. It's one of the best horror movies you'll ever see in your life. Just try and know as little about it going into it as possible. Don't even look at the poster. The poster's too much of a spoiler for you. Just go watch Audition. It's, I think, Korean or Japanese. I don't remember. I think it's Japanese. Takashi Miike. Takashi Miike did it. And it's incredible. It's his best known movie for a reason. Autopsy of Jane Doe I should have seen, but I have not. Babadook. Fuck. Babadook is A. It's not an S tier movie, I don't think. I think it's a bit too flawed. The kid is a bit too annoying in it for his own good. I know that's the point, is the kid is meant to be like a bit neurodivergent and a bit... he's meant to get on our nerves because you get into the mother's world a bit, but I think they went a bit too far with the kid, where it's just annoying to watch the kid on screen. You don't just get the idea that the kid's annoying. The kid, it's just annoying to watch. So the Babadook there, but it's so fucking good and so creepy. I remember when I first watched it, it was back when I lived in South Africa, and I watched it at home when my mom and sister were both out of town. So I was just at home alone for like 2 nights. So I was like, oh, let's watch the Babadook by myself. I was like fucking 19 or 20 at this point, maybe even old. I think I was 20 because it came out 2015. And I remember it actually like kept me up at night. 20-year-old me just kept up at night having to stay alone after watching the Babadook. And then I showed my friends, which was great because it fucking freaked them out too. The baby. I don't think I've seen The Babysitter. Have I? The Babysitter. I don't think I've seen this. 2017. Why didn't I watch this? Was McG did direct? What the fuck? McG directed this. The guy directed the Charlie's Angels movies and Terminator Salvation. The fuck, is this movie good? Good ratings. I guess I should watch it. It's on Netflix? How the fuck did I miss that? Oh well. I should watch that. Basket Case is so fucking good, guys. This is the movie. If you've seen that Simpsons Treehouse of Horror about Bart's conjoined twin that gets separated from him at birth and then is locked in the attic, that is parodying Basket Case. Basket Case is about this guy who moves to New York and then carries around this basket wherever he goes, and people see him, and he has relationships and all this kind of stuff. But it turns out in the basket is his deformed conjoined twin that they chopped off when he was a kid, who lives in this little basket and looks kind of weird, and he just feeds him people. It's fucking weird as hell. It's amazing. I love it. It's so grimy and creepy. It's Frank Henenlotter at his Frank Henenlotter best. Who also did Frankenhooker, if anyone's seen that, which is also an incredible movie. I love Basket Case to fucking death. It is so grimy and gross and gritty and weird, and I feel awful that I have not seen the Basket Case sequels, because I know I will love them. If you guys have seen Malignant from last year, Malignant is just a complete homage all the way through to Basket Case. Of course, Malignant does its own thing and is weird in its own way, and I love Malignant because it's just giving someone that kind of budget to make that fucking weird of a movie is amazing to me, and I love it. Didn't see Behind the Mask or Benny Loves Benny. I don't know if anyone's seen that. I don't know what the fuck that is. Benny Loves You. 2019, Carl Hook. No one I follow has seen this. What is this? Throws away his beloved childhood plush Benny. It's a move that has disastrous consequences when he springs to life with deadly intentions. This guy gave it 5 stars. Average of 2.9. I should check this out. That looks pretty funny. I'm always down for cheesy horror. And Benny Loves You, I have not seen. This is the ouch. That zombie. Zombie 2. Because that guy's name, Lucio Fulci. The Beyond. Oh, this is why I checked this, because I need to see. I don't remember the Italian names, but I remember the English names. If you guys have not seen The Beyond is fucking amazing. The Beyond is about this woman that who finds out that her house is built above a portal to hell, and then she manages to wander her way in. Gino, you're amazing. I love you. I hope you're doing well. But the Beyond is fucking amazing. It's about a woman that lives above the portal to hell, and she wanders down there, and it's just this super creative imagery by what's his name? Lucio Fulci, who also did this great work. Gino's gotta work. Hope you enjoy work today. Yeah, but he also did this. Zombie Flesh Eaters, which is also called Zombie, which is also called Zombie 2 in some places, which is a really, really, really good zombie movie with great effects. It's Italian. I love it. It's also Don't Torture a Duckling, which I need to see, which I've heard is really good. But he's, this batshit crazy Italian horror filmmaker. But The Beyond is maybe his most well-known movie, and it's great. Black Christmas is considered maybe like the first slasher movie. Monday or Tuesday, they both work for me, I think. Yeah, both those days work fine for me. Maybe do Monday, because I think Kevin comes back Tuesday and he might need a ride. But whatever works best for you guys. But yeah, Black Christmas is like a lot of people consider it the first ever slasher movie. Similarly to Halloween, it actually came out before Halloween. and obviously set during Christmas time and about this girl sorority. It's a bit slow paced for what it is, and it's definitely very like proto. Actually, put it here because of that. It's a bit, still trying to figure out the genre and what the genre is and what it's trying to do, but it's very interesting for what it is. I like the way it's shot. I watched it on Christmas Day last year, which was fun. Blair Witch Project is an A. I love the Blair Witch Project. I think I know a lot of people find it slow and boring, but everything that people don't like about that movie, I love about it. I think it's perfectly paced. I love it is like still, I don't think there's been a better found footage horror movie than the Blair Witch Project. It does exactly what it needs to do. It knows what it wants. It knows what it wants to be. It changed the game. The marketing for that movie was beyond its world genius, and I still find the ending genuinely creepy. I don't find it boring or silly. I actually find the ending of that movie creepy. I never actually saw the second one because everyone said it's bad, but I know I should. This one wasn't amazing. I remember going to the theaters to watching that, and that also had like really good marketing. The marketing for Blair Witch 3 or whatever you want to call it, the remake, was really interesting because the plot is about people that watched the original Blair Witch and then went out into the woods to try and find the witch themselves. And they were like digital cameras and all that shit, so it's different to what the original Blair Witch was. They went to documentary team. But originally it was called The Woods, if anyone remembers that, and I think it was at Comic-Con or some kind of fest. They showed the trailer for The Woods. They introduced it as being for The Woods, and at the end it just said Blair Witch, which I thought was pretty clever. It got a lot of hype for it. It made me want to watch it. But then I didn't really like it too much. It was kind of boring. Everything that people dismiss about the Blair Witch was in this one. The original Blob with fucking Steve McQueen. That's an interesting one. I'll put it B. It's weird. It's very cheesy and old, but it's like the perfect stupid monster movie. It knows exactly what it is. It does exactly what it's told. It's like when people think of cheesy B-list B-movie horror movies from the 50s, the Blob is like the perfect version of that. That's why I think it stood the test of time as a fucking Criterion release. And then the 80s Blob is not as good. Yeah, 80s Blob is fine. I need to see it again because I know a lot of people actually hold it in higher regard than I do. But I remember thinking it was pretty boring, and the original Blob I fucking loved. The original Boy, I will put C. It's fine. The twist I actually kind of saw coming. So I think the most exciting part about that movie is the twist. And I saw the twist coming, and it's pretty much just like another take of House of the Devil, if you saw that. Who directed House of the Devil? I just saw a movie, House of the Devil. Ty West movie. He directed Pearl as well. It's just another take of House of the Devil, which came out in 2009. Just a worse version of that. I never saw Brahms 2, The Boy I Want to. Fucking Brain Dead by the fucking goat, Lord of the Rings himself. Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson's Brain Dead. Fucking this is maybe the bloodiest movie you will ever see in your entire life. The ending of this movie is just 30 minutes of just pure blood. Just pure gushing blood going at you for about 30 minutes in this movie, and it's incredible. Peter Jackson, before Lord of the Rings, was this hardcore horror filmmaker similar to Evil Dead Sam Raimi, and people just forget that because now he's done Heavenly Creatures and Lord of the Rings, so people just associate him for that when his fucking horror movies were balls to the fucking walls. He did this one movie called Meet the Feebles, which is this puppet version of like a puppet Muppet kind of thing, but it's it's a very basic premise. It's just kind of like, what if we do Muppets, but they are gross and swear and are like hookers and prostitutes and all that kind of stuff, and do drugs and murder each other. So it's kind of like that Melissa McCarthy movie from a couple of years ago in that way. The Brood, David Cronenberg's The Brood. There. It's great. It's weird. The ending of it is fucking gross as all hell. I think it's Cronenberg's first movie. And he already knew where to go with the body horror shit. It's very, very well done. Very creepy. I think it's a Criterion release as well. But the ending of that fucked me up. I did not see the ending coming. I think I watched it and forgot that it was David Cronenberg, or forgot what David Cronenberg did. Because when I got to the ending, I was just like, oh my fucking god, that's disgusting. The original Candyman. Yeah, I'd say there. That's a good place for it. I don't think it's A tier yet, but the original Candyman's great. Very spooky. Very spooky, very creepy. Actually has some interesting things to say about race relations in America and how it affects race relations in America, and how what the white community has done to black communities can cause like this violence and stuff to happen in them, and also the way the media portrays it in that. It's a very forward-thinking movie for the time, actually. I think it was 1991 or something. I actually really love the original Candyman, and it's creepy in its own way as well. It's not just like political stuff. The political stuff is actually very below the surface in that movie. It's front and foremost just a good, solid slasher horror movie. I heard the sequels suck, but I never actually got to see them. The remake, I wanted to like more than I did. I was hoping it was going to be better than it actually was. It was fine. There's some good imaginative shots in it, some really cool kills in it, I thought. But it ended very abruptly from what I remember, and I feel like they didn't really have much of a point. They try to go a bit more on the nose with the political analogy, which I think is the right thing to do, which is the right way to go. But I don't think it succeeded as much as I hoped it would. I wish it was longer as well. I think it stopped before it should have. Cannibal Holocaust, that's it. Cannibal Holocaust is an interesting one. So this is kind of considered the first ever found footage movie, and the director of this movie got sued because the effects in it are so good and so realistic that he thought people were actually murdered on camera. He was taken to trial because of that, and he disproved it by just having the actors show up, which is very funny. Where would I put Cannibal Holocaust? Cannibal Holocaust, because it's kind of boring. It's not as exciting as you think it's going to be. It's got a lot of like very gross elements to it. It's very gruesome. It's very, very, very not safe for work. They kill a fucking tortoise on screen, which I don't like very much. That made me very sad. Which, yeah, that's my least favorite part of that movie, and it's the only thing I really think of when I think of that movie. I'd put it, I think high C is fair enough for Cannibal Holocaust. Anything more than that's being a bit too generous, I think. Carrie is S. I love Carrie. Carrie is... I remember watching that with my sister a couple years ago for like Halloween time. And we got to the ending, which spoilers for Carrie. We got to the ending where Carrie's house implodes and kills her and her mother, and they're like buried in it. And then the one girl goes and like walks up to plant flowers on the grave, and you just see the hand jump up with the jump scare. And the jump scare is probably my favorite jump scare in any movie ever. I love that jump scare in Carrie. I don't think I've seen the. Ever seen The Cave? 2005. I have not seen The Cave. Bruce Hunt. Masterclass in mediocrity. Okay. Maybe I shouldn't see The Changeling. I don't think I've seen The Changeling, but I'm willing to be proved wrong by myself. Nope. I have not seen it. The original Children of the Corn is much worse than you remember it being. It's not very scary. It's not very funny. It's not really like imaginative anyway. I'm glad they didn't put any of the sequels because I've seen none of them. Jeez, there's a lot of these. I feel like I've done so many. I've been talking for so long, but there's a lot to go. But yeah, I haven't seen The Changeling. Child's Play, the first Child's Play. The first Child's Play movie is a C. It's not as good as you remember it because what you remember being good is Child's Play 2, which is the much better version of Child's Play. And an actually exciting, fun movie. Child's Play 3 isn't as good. Bride of Chucky, then. This is what it does interesting. I don't think any horror movie can survive going to a fourth movie and being good. So what they did well here was introduce Bride of Chucky. So they actually had a different dynamic. They didn't just have the same thing going on again. So Bride of Chucky, I'd say, is actually there. I'd say I'd put it between these two. Not as good as the original, but better than 3. But then Seed of Chucky is my controversial take. I think Seed of Chucky is great. It's not an amazing movie in any way, shape, or form. Like, it's not very scary or very plotted well. It doesn't have imaginative kills and all of that. But I have not seen, and I don't know how intentional it is, but it is such a progressive take on gender identity for a movie that came out in like 1993. When did it come out? Seed of Chucky came out 2000. For a movie that came out in 2004, I've never seen a better look at gender identity for a shitty slashy horror movie that came out in 2004. But Don Mancini's a really interesting guy. He was like the creator of Chucky, and I think he's a gay man himself. My wife Sophia actually did his makeup for a photo shoot once, and she said he's just a really, really interesting guy. Curse of Chucky and Seed of Chucky, neither of these were very great in their own way. The late 2000s reboots of them were fine. The new Child's Play was actually not too bad. I actually kind of liked it. I think it did a lot of what the original was trying to do and actually be better. I liked it well. It was shot well. It was acted well. I thought it was plotted well. I had really no issue with it. I want to see the new show. Okay, the original Cloverfield is an interesting one. Put it there. I don't remember a lot about it. I remember the camera work being too shaky for its own good and actually making it difficult to see what's going on instead of being frenetic and scary. Which is just, at that point, just bad. It had an interesting idea, an interesting concept, but I don't remember it being too scary in any way, shape, or form. I've not seen Clown or The Collector. Color of Space is actually pretty fucking good. I'm not gonna lie. That is the best Lovecraft movie I've ever seen. It's Nicolas Cage and his wife are like in this cabin in the woods, and then just hell on earth just starts happening to them. And it has the spoilers to the movie, but the mother's death scene is so emotionally draining. It is so brutal in the way that they shoot that and the way that they describe that. I was really surprised by how much I liked that movie because it came out 2020, I think. I actually think it was 2020 it came out, and I was like, okay, COVID movie, it's going to be okay. It's going to be kind of creepy. It's going to be good, but it's actually fucked up. It's really good. The effects in it are great. Nicolas Cage is really good in it. And as I said, it's like really emotionally draining at points. Conjuring. It's an interesting one. Conjuring's an A. I love The Conjuring. I know it's like, it's taking its hand and making like just a modern thing, and I think it tries to like hit the tropes as much as it can and it feels a bit formulated in many ways and like how to make the perfect 2012 horror movie, but it works. It works too well. They describe, it's a movie about a haunted house, and I think they do that movie about that haunted house as well as they possibly could. They address all the cliches as well as they possibly can. The acting's really good in it. Set design's really good in it. The jump scares are as good as you can get jump scares to be. And the entire tone is creepy enough that I really like The Conjuring. And I'm going to I prefer The Conjuring 2 to The Conjuring. I love The Conjuring 2. I don't think it's as good of a movie as good of a movie as The Conjuring 1. It's very sloppy and much more messy. But when I watch The Conjuring 2, I just think of that scene when Patrick Williams, the main guy, is just playing that Elvis song "Can't Buy Me Love" to those kids in the basement, and then he just looks at his wife. And I think going into that, making that decision to make it more about the connection between those two and less about the actual haunting was really smart. And I think it really worked for the movie. I don't think the scares are as good as The Conjuring 2 or Conjuring 1, but I love that emotional beats of The Conjuring 2. I don't know, I just really like it. Conjuring 3 came out last year, I think. I remember it. It wasn't as good or as memorable. It has a stupid title as well. The Devil Made Me Do It. It had creepy bits to it that I liked, but overall it really wasn't as good as the first two. Or even like the third Annabelle movie I thought was actually better than The Conjuring 3. Countdown. Wait, have I seen Countdown? That poster looks memorable. Countdown. No, I have not seen it. Only 3 Days to Live with Time Kicking. Okay. I have not seen this. Creep. The original Creep was actually not too bad. I'll put it there, just above The Conjuring. It's not amazing in any way, shape, or form. I know it has that YMS review, which just tears it apart for its logical inconsistencies. And don't get me wrong, I love YMS. I think he's a good critic and clever and funny when he needs to be. But I do think he gets a bit too in the minutiae of movies instead of giving actual like critiques about what the film's about, he just critiques inconsistencies, which I don't really agree is the best way to judge a movie. But I think the original Creep is pretty solid. It's a good little found footage movie. It has creepy bits to it. I think it's only like 70 minutes long or something ridiculously short like that. But I never saw Creep 2. I know I should have. Critters, I have not seen any of the Critters movies, sadly. I feel bad, I should. Have not seen that. Return of Aliens Deadly Spawn. Dead Ringers. Dead Ringers is amazing. Not S tier. I'd put it there. Dead Ringers is incredible. It's maybe one of David Cronenberg's best movies. It is Jeremy Irons in probably one of the best performances ever. He should have been nominated and won an Oscar for these. He plays two twins who are gynecologists, like experimental gynecologists, that try and pretend to be the same person and being like the same relationship with the same woman at the same time and not letting her know that it's two different people, and it just goes in incredibly weird, crazy directions. And Jeremy Irons plays these two characters with such great different personalities, and having one of them Like, you can tell when he is playing one of the characters acting as the other character, instead of just being that other character. It is that seems so fucking difficult to do, and he plays that so convincingly. He is amazing in that movie. And it is just an incredible movie. One of David Cronenberg's best. Dead Silence is very, very okay. I would put it there. I think is a fair place to put Dead Silence. It's a creepy puppet movie, and that's really all you need to know about it. It's the James Wan directed it. Directed The Conjuring and Fast and Furious 7. And it doesn't really have much else to note about that. It's pretty much just a high-budget Goosebumps episode. Deep Blue Sea I've sadly not seen. I've seen clips from it, and I know I need to see it. I've not seen Dario Argento or Fumio, or I've not. Well, I've heard about Deliver Us from Evil, because I know it has one of the dumbest endings ever. Wait, is that the one I'm thinking of, right? Is it one I'm thinking? Scott Derrickson? I think so. Is this the one that had the shitty ending? Maybe I'm not. I don't want to show it, but I didn't see it. The Dentist and The Dentist 2. I have not even heard of those. I love that poster, though. The Descent is great. If anyone hasn't seen The Descent, go check it out. It's fucking creepy as fucking shit. I love it. It is some of the best, like, it's about these people that go spelunking, cave diving, and just go way too deep, and they just get into this, like, creepy horror, this creepy horror cult shit that's going on with amazing imagery and, like, just shit that's going on the whole time. I love it. It's great. Please check it out. I've not seen that. Donnie Darko, is that really a horror movie? I don't know. Is Donnie Darko a horror movie? I like Donnie Darko a lot, actually. I like it a lot more than a lot of people do. I'm not going to say I fully understand all of Donnie Darko, but I have seen that one big YouTube video that explains everything Donnie Darko explains, and it talks about, like, that whole map of what's going on and all these different, like, dimensional ideas that are way too deep and complex for my own understanding of the matter, and, like, physics and two different dimensions and how different dimensions overlap and intersect at different points in time. But I do like the ending of Donnie Darko a lot, and it has one of the best uses of Mad World ever. And Jake Gyllenhaal is pretty good in it. A lot of people hate Donnie Darko, but I think I like it. Drag Me to Hell is fucking sick. Right there. That's the best place for Drag Me to Hell. That's a Sam Raimi movie. Yeah, about this woman that gets cursed and is like haunted, and, like, I think it's a really good movie. I think Sam Raimi in the mess of, like, doing Spider-Man and Wizard of Oz movies does this really good back to his roots horror movie. No one really talks about it too much. Some horror fans do, but besides that, that's kind of it. I've seen Escape Room 2, but I've not seen Escape Room 1, weirdly enough. Or I've not seen Event Horizon. Evil Dead. Yeah, first Evil Dead is great. Some people don't like the first Evil Dead because it is just so low budget, but I think it's just so such a great, perfect representation of what that kind of era of low budget filmmaking is and what it can do, and how the seeds kind of were starting to change, that people could just go out and make a low budget horror movie and it could just be this big success if you just have the right team behind you and the right effects crew and the right director and the right cast. But obviously, Evil Dead 2 is the one that people remember, and is the best movie I've talked about so far. It is incredible. Evil Dead 2 does everything Evil Dead does, but better. It's pretty much just a remake of Evil Dead 1, but it is bigger budget. They know what to do with Ash at this point. They know that Bruce Campbell can just play balls to the walls, wacky, serious, silly, and they draw that line between horror and comedy perfectly. I've never seen a better split of horror and comedy than in Evil Dead 2. And that just kept Bruce Campbell's career going for the rest of his life, and it's just perfect. I love it so much. You should too. Army of Darkness goes the other way. They're really interesting, actually, movies, because like Evil Dead 1's just a pure horror movie. There's some wacky bits to it, but I think that's more down to the fact that there was low budget than it actually trying to be silly. Evil Dead 2 is horror comedy split down the middle, and Army of Darkness is just an action comedy. There's not really much horror elements to it at all. It's completely balls to the walls, fucking insane, wacky, brilliant. Bruce Campbell is the best, gives the best slapstick since Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton in this. It's just literally that level of slapstick, and it's incredible. And I really liked the remake. Bloody, very bloody. Honestly, probably more or as much blood as Brain Dead. And I think it's incredible. Honestly, I really was very surprised. I remember I didn't watch it in the theaters. I watched it at one of my friends' houses a couple of years ago when it came out, and I wasn't expecting too much from it. I was like, "Oh, you're going to do a remake of Evil Dead? It's just going to take all the life out of it. It's not Sam Raimi. He's not directing it. It's just going to be like a boring, stupid remake." And I watched it, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's really genuinely creepy. It doesn't have any of the horror aspects comedy aspects that Evil Dead 2 has. It's much more straight horror, but I think they did a really good job with it. Exorcist. Is there anything I have to say? There's 2, maybe 3 movies that are going to go into this tier if they have the third one on here, which I don't know if they do. I don't think they do. So Exorcist belongs in its own tier. It's the best horror movie ever made. It is the quintessential horror movie. It is perfect, and the reason why it is the best horror movie ever made is because the first 30 to 40 minutes of it isn't a horror movie. Besides the beginning with the Reverend out in the Middle East, I think he's in the Middle East. Besides that bit, which does have some spooky elements that come back later, Pazuzu, the beginning of that movie is just a plain drama. You learn about the characters, you get emotionally invested in the characters, and then the horror elements start. So by the point that you are invested into the horror scenes, you're emotionally invested within the characters, and it's amazing. Fear.com I have not seen, but I know I should. It's meant to be fucking insane. I want to see it. I need to see it because it looks terrible. I love that kind of shit. Final Destination 1. I don't have much to say about it. It's okay. I have not seen any of the sequels, which I know I should because I think they get better from what I've heard. The Fog. John Carpenter's The Fog is C. Put it there. There. It's good. It's good for what it is. I don't think it's John Carpenter's best movie in any way. It kind of reminds me a bit of also that other fucking black and white Twilight Zone episode with the woman being chased by those Martians. It's similar in that way. It's fine. It's good. It does its job, but I don't think it's an incredible movie in any way, shape, or form. Jason X is fucking Jason X is so stupid. I don't want to put it in F because it's so fucking dumb that I have to give it a bit of a leeway, but it's great. It's just the remake of Friday the 13th. I will put it just there. Because it's not great, but there's some bits in it that I think are interesting. The original Friday the 13th is such an interesting idea. Such an interesting movie because it doesn't have the Jason that we all know. That's not what we think of when we think of Friday the 13th. He doesn't really become that until like part 3, I think. Part 2 is the only one where Jason's actually the killer. The first one, the killer is the mother. Not even Jason. I'd say it can go around here somewhere. There, that's a good spot for it. Part 2, I'd say it's just a tad better, but not much better. 3 is very stupid, cheesy 3D effects. So I'd put it there. It's fun. All of these are fun. Like the first 3 Friday the 13th movies are all fun, silly, stupid movies. But they're not great in any way. Friday the 13th, the final chapter. That's the one where it has the kid, right? This is where it just starts to get like... They don't really know what they're trying to do here. They're fine. They're in that same like level of movie where they're just stupid, silly slash movies, but they're just kind of trying to figure out what they're trying to do with themselves. But then fucking 6 comes along, rocks everyone's shit, because it is amazing. It is the best one. It is the best Friday the 13th movie, part 6, because the first one that just unabashedly is just stupid. It's the one where Jason becomes a zombie. It starts off with a lightning bolt hitting his grave, so he comes out of the ground and just wreaks havoc to this camp group and just murders them. And you get enough of a story and enough of like knowing who the characters are, the campers are, so you kind of care a little bit when they die, but not enough where you don't want Jason to kill them, because you want Jason to kill them. And that part 6 is the perfect Friday the 13th movie. It finds the perfect balance between stupid and fun and kills and everything. And the rest are a bit too boring and slow. This one's just fast-paced, balls to the wall, dumb, fun. Part 7 kind of drops off a little bit. That's the one with the weird psychic kid. Jason Goes to Manhattan is one of the dumbest ones. But also, I'd say my second favorite, because it's just so fucking stupid. I'd say, yeah, part 2 is better. But Jason Takes Manhattan's the one where he fights the guy on the trash barge and just punches his head clean off his head with an uppercut. Amazing. I love it. Jason Goes to Hell is so boring. I hate that about it. Jason X is better. The cover art of Jason Goes to Hell is so cool. Like, just look at that cover art. It's sick as shit. And I was like, Jason Goes to Hell? That sounds amazing. How could you fuck that up? Well, by setting most of it in a farm and just making it boring. That's how you fuck it up. The movie is so disappointing to me. The original Fright Night is really, really okay. I was hoping it would be better than it was. I didn't love it. I heard the remake's actually not too bad, but maybe I also wouldn't love it. From Beyond is awesome. People should go watch From Beyond because it's actually really, really, really sick. It's who directed it? Yeah, it's based on an HP. It's Stuart Gordon directed it. Well, yeah, he did the Reanimator and other things. And it's based on HP. I come for the Krites. Yes. But yeah, From Beyond's fucking amazing, and the special effects it has at the end is awesome. Yeah, what's it? They developed the resonator machine, which will allow whatever is in range to see beyond normal perceptible reality. The experiment succeeds. They're immediately attacked by human and terrible life forms. Stuart Gordon's like one of the only directors until what's that movie? Color of Space that we talked about earlier, that actually managed to successfully create an H.P. Lovecraft story. Because if you actually read H.P. Lovecraft books, if you actually read H.P. Lovecraft, his books don't really read like narratives. They're very like stream of consciousness told like in a diary form, and it's kind of difficult to decipher that into an actual movie because it's like first person almost. It's difficult to like convey that. Get Out. Get Out is tier. I know it's so new and I know it hasn't really like stood the test of time, but it's really, really, really that good. It is Jordan Peele, I think, is a director that I think Jordan Peele is a director that his movies fall into the realm of being much more metaphorical than actual stories, and I feel that's where Us falls apart a lot because it leans way too heavily into the metaphor than it does the actual story itself. Get Out, I think, is his best movie because it balances the two very well. The metaphors are incredibly strong and says a lot about America and its history of race relations and mistreatment of black people and how slavery is always prevalent in any communication whites and black Americans have with each other, even if you don't think it does. But also it just tells its own story that can work at surface level, which I don't think like something like Us can do, which I'll talk about later. But Get Out is incredible and it deserves to be in this tier of some of the best horror movies ever made. And I'm sorry about the Crites. I have not seen the Crits. I have not seen. Hey Josh. Josh, fucking reading the wrong thing. Hey Margo, I'm good. Doing some horror movie. Ghoulies. Like, see it because of that poster. That poster is amazing. Fucking toilets. I want to see that. Yeah, I'm doing good. How you doing? Gonna go watch a concert later. The original Gremlins. I think the original Gremlins. Yeah, right below Basket Case. It's like a Christmas horror movie, and I think it does a lot, and it has that weird ass. Oh, I'm glad you're doing well. It has that weird ass scene where the girl tells the story about like her abusive stepfather that just comes out of fucking nowhere. That is so much darker than anything else in the movie. But I do like that movie a lot, the original Gremlins. I think it's a fun Christmas creepy movie, and it's been obviously talked about a lot. But Gremlins 2 is better. There. Gremlins 2 is amazing. It's so stupid. What? It wasn't a story? What? Tell me, what was it? Oh, wasn't it like her dad kills himself in front of her? Thank you for correcting me. Gremlins Sad Story. Was it this one? Thank you for correcting me, because it just comes out of fucking nowhere in the movie, and it's so sad and so weird. But yeah, the movie in the goat section is The Exorcist so far. It has to be. It's The Exorcist. It's the best horror movie ever made. Halloween 2. I don't know why this one's first of all the Halloween movies on this list, but Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, Phoebe Cates is beautiful. Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is actually really good. It is good. Thank you. Thank you, Margot. But Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is so good because similarly to Friday the 13th Part 6, It is just unabashedly just about the guy going out and just committing murder, just nonstop, just murdering people. You just see cool kills. You don't really get much of a story. You don't really get much of character or anything. You just see cool, inventive kills, and that's really kind of all we want when it comes to like the 11th installment in a series. Past the second installment of a horror series, people don't really care about character development much anymore. The 2018 remake of Halloween. This movie will go here for me for a very specific reason. It is the movie that my wife and I saw on. I like Halloween Season of the Witch. What? Experimental. Oh, God. I've only watched the first Final Destination. I know, that's bad. I need to see them. Actually, I'll probably watch them this Halloween season. I try and catch up on all the series, Halloween or horror series franchises that I haven't seen. So this one I'll probably try and watch the Final Destination, because there's only 5 of them. But yeah, Halloween. The 2018 Halloween was the movie that me and my wife saw on our first date, so it holds a bit of a special place in my heart. It might not be the best movie in the world, but I love it. Makes me happy. Halloween Kills, on the other hand, we saw that last year on a date, because we're like, gotta go watch that. It's not very good. Evil Dead 1 fucking rocks. I love Evil Dead 1. Evil Dead 2 is better, in my opinion, but Evil Dead 1 is great. Halloween Kills kind of sucks. I'll put it there. There. It Watchers with Corey Haim. I remember that movie. I think I've seen that. Is that on here? I wonder if it is. It's not on. No. It's not. But where was it? Oh yeah, Halloween Kills. The new Halloween Kills sucks. Fucking sucks ass. Such a bad movie that just try to have some kind of commentary about like modern mob mentality and like Twitter culture and political extremism, but just completely lost the fucking mark. Oh Lord, but the original Halloween's in its tier. It's fucking amazing. I remember the first time I watched it, I didn't actually love it that much. The first Halloween movie I ever watched was Halloween Resurrection. The one with Exhibit in it. And I saw that when I was a little kid and it freaked me out. And for the longest time I thought that was the original Halloween. I thought that was like what the Halloween movie was, the original one. And I was like, that movie was awful. It was so scary. I hated it. And then I watched the original and I was like, oh, this is not that. It's much slower and actually good. There we go. Halloween 2. Halloween 2 is actually pretty good. I think it actually does do something with the story. It has a reason to exist. It wasn't just we made money, let's make a movie, which it is at the end of the day. The first Halloween movie made a shit ton of money, so they greenlit a sequel, but they actually had a good story for it. Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is the best C tier I can put in. I haven't got to Insidious. Yeah, Insidious isn't there yet, but I'd probably put the first one. Probably for the first one in B tier. I think I like the first one. I like all the Insidious movies. I didn't see this one. I only saw the first 3, but I liked all 3 of them for what they were. I remember watching the second and third one in theaters by myself, because I was a fucking masochist. But Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is such a strange movie. Obviously, it's the only one in the Halloween series where they didn't have Michael Myers in it, because they wanted to do like an anthology kind of thing where every year they put out a new story, a new Halloween themed story. which I personally think they should have kept with instead of going back to more Mike Myers stuff, because that's just not as interesting, and they never really made a movie as fun as Halloween 3 after that. But, you know, it is what it is. But it just got bad reviews, so it just never really took off from there, sadly. Then, yeah, then there's these ones, which just aren't, like, anything interesting. Say they're better than... they're on there. None of them do anything for me. I know Halloween 6 tries to go into, like, the lore of Mike Myers a bit too much. On Viscala Axe Murders, you say? (2016). Uninteresting. I'd watch this. Huh. Yeah, I'd definitely watch that. Halloween H2O is actually the only other Halloween sequel that's any good. Not a great movie in any way, shape, or form, but it actually has a reason to exist, and they try to just close the book on Mike Myers. But I think John Carpenter actually came back in some way to help on that one, if I remember. And Halloween Resurrection is just god-awful, so bad. It's there. It's in that. I think it's in that area, but it's really fuck. I've never heard of it.
The Lord has delivered you unto
The Viscala Axe Murderers.
The Lord has delivered you unto me, and I will take
Hey guys, today is a pretty exciting day for me. We will be visiting the Villisca Axe Murder House.
Villisca.
Where are we going exactly?
Villisca? We're ghost hunters. Hunt ghosts!
Welcome to the Villisca Axe Murder House. This way.
8 people, 6 of them kids, got their heads smashed in 1912. Toads cray balls.
They caught the killer, right?
No.
Tour was kind of lame. These things are all hype anyways.
No, we just didn't see the whole thing.
Maybe we could take our own tour later tonight? Follow me.
Hey, let's take a picture.
What was that? What happened? What are you doing with a machete? We gotta go.
Nothing is safe.
What are you doing?
Take this! This is in you!
If I get murdered, it's totally your fault.
Oh, please. Nothing ever happens in Iowa.
Yeah, I don't really know much about that. I'd watch this movie, though. Reviews aren't great, but I don't trust horror movie reviews, ever. Okay, what's this? The original Halloween? Oh, not the original Halloween. The original Rob Zombie Halloween is not as good as the second one, because the second one is dope as fuck. Yeah, I'd put it there. He tries to do something interesting, which I respect Rob Zombie as a filmmaker for, because I don't think he ever makes boring movies. But he tried to kind of go into why Mike Myers is the way he is, which I don't think was the right way to go about it. I don't think that's what makes him an interesting character. The idea is that he's just an unnatural just force of murder and evil. By making it the kind of like southern evil that Rob Zombie is interested in, I think it takes away from what Halloween is. I understand that he tried to do something interesting with it, and I respect that much about it, but I think it was a misstep, personally. Happy Death Day was actually really good. I'd put this in B. Yeah, I think that's a good spot for it. I really liked it. And I still haven't seen the sequel, which is stupid of me because I really liked the first one. And I know people say the sequel tries to actually do something interesting and different with it. I never saw Hellraiser Judgment. Hellraiser 1 is incredible. So fucking weird, so gay, so kinky. I respect so much about it. Who was the director of the original Hellraiser? Was Clive Barker as well. Yes. Clive Barker is such an interesting fucking guy. The writer mainly. Did Nightbreed, which is strange, but yeah, I love the original Hellraiser. I love the queer codedness about it. I love the S&M part about it, and I think just understanding that the way that a lot of the horror icons were dressed in a way does have its basis in like S&M and kink culture, and he just brings that to the forefront, which I think is brilliant. What's this, Hellbound? The second one was as good, honestly. Fight me, the second one is as good. 3 doesn't. 3 kind of loses the plot a little bit, sadly, I think. I don't think 3 does it as well. 4 is also, they're all kind of, 2, 3, and 4 all exist within the same realm of film. I think 4 does it a little bit better than 3. I was talking about 2. 2 is good. I can listen to yourself, Josh. But 2, 3, and 4 is kind of like the arc, anyway. Like Star Trek. The trilogy of Star Trek is movie 2, 3, and 4. Trilogy of Hellraiser is 2, 3, and 4. But I think 2 is incredible and just expands upon the ideas of the original in a very interesting ways. Shows more about the actual Selen bites, I think is what they call them. But then 3 and 4 try and go a bit deeper into it, but they just kind of lose track. 4 is very famous for being the Alan Smithy movie, which is when the director took his name off. I haven't seen any other Hellraiser movies. I want to. I'm very excited for the new Hellraiser movie coming out to Hulu recently, because that is going to be very interesting, and even if it sucks, I don't care. Hereditary is... It's an A. I don't think it's an S tier movie. The original Last House on the Left is fucking rough. It's a good movie, but god fucking damn. I love Roger Ebert's review of Last House on the Left, because he just does not get it. That's one thing I found so funny about Siskel and Ebert, is that they just did not understand. You think it'll be crap? I'm excited for it. I mean, you're probably not wrong, but I kind of want to see it. I don't want to watch the whole trailer.
It's almost finished.
It'll be political.
Keep going.
That's 6 sides, 6 greater delights.
I'm gonna see it anyway. Yeah, I'm excited to see it. What did I say? Oh yeah, Hereditary. Hereditary, I'll put Hereditary, I think is definitely A. I think it really did do something very interesting with the horror genre, which is difficult to do at this point because of, you know, how many horror movies there are and how many different ways there are to make one. But I think Ari Aster is such a fucked up kind of guy. He has such an interesting take on the horror genre, and he has such an interesting mind that Hereditary really, really works and has really, really good imagery. And the mother, what's her name? I talked about this the other day. She should have been nominated for an I think it was. I think Lost House on the Left was based on a real case. It's very dark. I think it was based on the same case as What's that horror movie as well? The other rape one? Oh fuck, I can't remember. One with the girl on the cover. Like Henry. Henry's a good movie. That's a dark movie though, Henry. I've not seen any of the Hostel movies, sadly. I know I should. I will. Houseu. Fucking weird as batshit crazy movie. I don't know if any of you guys have seen Houseu. Houseu is fucking wild Japanese movie that doesn't make any fucking sense. The director, I Spit in Your Grave. Thank you. It was based on the same case, right? Or am I just mixing the two up because they're similar? Houseu, if anyone hasn't seen Houseu, is fucking... House 2 is rad, but that's a different kind of movie than Houseu. This is Houseu. Yeah, this movie's fucking insane. It's incredible. It's not the house you think it is. Because I know what movie you're thinking of. House and House 2 are also really cool, but this movie is fucking this guy. Nobuhiko Obashahi did this great movie last year called Labyrinth Cinema, which was amazing. 3 hours long. Crazy. You need to have a very, very, very extensive knowledge of Japanese history and Japanese cinema to understand at least a bit of what's going on. But if you're into that shit, this movie's great. Anyway, back to my point. That always gets me. But Houseu is fucking insane. It's batshit, and it's awesome. I need to see it again. It's been too long. Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses. So great. I like it. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. It's a lot. It's very crazy. It's weird and wild. Very groupy and grimy in what Rob Zombie does. But I really... have a good one, man. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks for popping in and chatting. But Rob Zombie's House of a Thousand Corpses is great. I think it really goes into that kind of, I don't want to say the word hillbilly because it seems a bit derogatory, but that kind of like hillbilly horror that people talk about, and Rob Zombie cares about these characters so much that I think it kind of alleviates any stereotypes that he gets into, and he has really cool, interesting, creepy, fun imagery, and he just has so much fun with all of his movies. I really respect Rob Zombie. I've never actually seen The Centipede. I know I should. Humanoids from the Deep, I have not seen. This is The Cure, right? So. It's called Cure. It's called Cure. This movie. Yeah, the Kiyoshi Kurosawa movie. I'm pretty sure that. Until I can't read Japanese. I don't know. I'm just gonna put it there because I don't know. I Know What You Did Last Summer is like the top of the D. It's like top of the D, tip of the D. I Know What You Did Last Summer is like the perfectly middle of the road baseline slasher movie where you go in, you know what you're going to get. It's a little bit trash, it's a little bit shit, but you're going to have a fun time if those are the kind of movies you're looking for. That is like the perfect D-list horror movie. This movie is actually fucking rad as hell. In the Mouth of Madness, John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness has really cool, really great imagery in the end. It's kind of based on a Lovecraftian kind of thing. Also, it's about a writer who writes these horror movies, and he writes this book that anyone who reads it goes mad and starts going crazy and tries to attack him and all this kind of stuff. And it has, which is kind of similar to Lovecraft's in the Mountain of Madness, where you go up the mountain, you go mad. But it has really great imagery at the end of it as well, and it's actually genuinely creepy at a lot of points, which any movie that I feel can actually creep me out after seeing, this many horror movies, I think does a good job. And that movie definitely does creep me out. Insidious. Can I put Insidious? Good spot for it. Right there. The original Insidious is good. Has a lot of really nice, fun jump scare moments to it. Jump scare moments, especially that one that everyone knows about, where you see the figure just creep up from the camera cut. I think that's really good. The movie itself has its moments. It's not incredible in any way, shape, or form, but I'm actually gonna I can get there. Not incredible in any way, shape, or form, but I think it's very solid for what it is. Same with Insidious 2. I think Insidious 2 and 3 I'd put there. Say Insidious 2 is just slightly better than 3, and Insidious 3 is slightly better than 2. But I don't think they're on the same level, so I just put them literally one spot apart. I like what they did. Insidious 2, I like the fact that the dad is the one that got possessed throughout the whole part, and they're trying to figure it out. And then 3, they go to a completely different bit. They go with this girl in the attic. They try to do different things with these movies, which I respect. I don't think they were ever really lazy with them, but they're not amazing anyway. But yeah, I never saw this one. Tall Grass I didn't watch. The 50s Invasion of the Body Snatchers. It's good. It's fun. Yeah, I can go there. I think the 70s one is actually better. It's the one that everyone knows. It's the one that people actually reference. It's got more interesting imagery about it. It's scarier, I think. And Donald Sutherland, I think, is great in it. Because when you actually watch movies that reference Invasion of the Body Snatchers, they reference the 70s one. They don't reference the 50s. They don't reference the 50s one. Fucking the original It, the mini-series of It, is not as good as you remember, okay? It's actually pretty bad and way too fucking long and doesn't get to the point. The original bit with the kids is okay, but the sequel is the second half isn't good, which is very similar to this. Where the 2017 It's really creepy and really good, and had a lot of very interesting moments, and a lot of great imagery, and the clown itself was very scary. And in the sequel, just kind of, I think the issue is the underlying issue is the second half of the movie, of the book, just isn't that good. I watched this movie, in a press screening with the actor and director there, and then the director did like a little Q&A and talked about the movie before it started. He introduced it. Jack Frost, I have not seen either of those. Jacob's Ladder, I've sadly not seen. I know I need to. Jaws, I know it's a monster movie. And it's a great movie. That's why it goes in S tier, because it's one of the best movies ever made. It just is. But it's not. I've never really considered it a true horror movie. Killer Clowns from Outer Space is so much fun. It's a better version of the Blob. I'd put it there. Prometheus, I've decided to knock down a peg. It's not that good. Krampus. Krampus is fun. What? Yeah. I like Krampus. Krampus is fun. It's a nice little creepy Christmas horror movie, which are always fun when they are good. Obviously, you get very, very bad ones, but I like Krampus a lot. Never saw Legion. The original con with Jennifer Aniston. It's terrible, but it's so funny. But it's there. It's not good in any way, but it's very funny. Swedish one. Swedish one is really good. The American one's good too. I really like the Swedish one. Yeah, I'll put it there. Forgot that movie existed. Honestly, that's why it goes a bit lower down. Because I forgot about its existence. It's okay. I didn't watch Life. The Lighthouse fucking rules, and anyone who's gonna tell me it doesn't is wrong. I love The Lighthouse. I love that director whose name is escaping my mind. Robert Eggers, even though I did not love The Northman. I thought The Northman was actually pretty bad and boring, but The Lighthouse and The Witch is fucking amazing. I love the way that movie's shot. And Willem Dafoe is so good in that. Lights Out is fine. It's like a nice C-list movie. Perfectly serviceable, creepy when it needs to be. Probably better as a 1 minute short than an hour and a half long movie, but you know, we take what we can get. Mama, I have sadly not seen. And I've not seen either of the Maniac Cop movies. Or Maniac, which I know I need to see. I know it's meant to be brutal. This is going to be a controversial pick, but I love Midsommar. I love Midsommar so much. It's a messy movie. It's a messy movie that's not, not going to be for everyone. It's way too long. It goes on way too many tangents. It doesn't really know what it's about, but I love the setting, and I love the imagery, and I love the acting, and I love the beginning of it especially. The intro is amazing. It does feel like it gets lost in its own head a little bit too much, which is definitely an Ari Aster thing, but Ari Aster's mind is so fucked up that I just love living in it. I own the director's cut of that movie. And I'd recommend you watch it if you liked it. See Mimic. The Mist fucking. This is a good movie, but we watched. Me and Sophia watched The Mist a couple months back, I remember. And if anyone has seen The Mist, you know what the ending is like, you know what it is. But we got to the ending of it, and I just remember her just laughing at the ending just because of how over the top miserable the ending of that movie is. Because it is so fucking over the top. Mother. I love Mother. People are not going to agree with this, but I really like Mother a lot. I remember watching that movie 3 times. I watched it once in theaters and twice when it came out because I just thought it was that interesting. I thought it was such an interesting, cool movie. I know it's Aronofsky just jerking off to Bible imagery with a horror element and trying to be obtuse about it because Aronofsky is a fucking pretentious asshole. But I think it's a really cool movie. Yeah, I think Mother is great. I think Jennifer Lawrence does a great job in that. I think Javier Bardem does a really great job in that. I've not seen My Bloody Valentine. None of the Living Dead original OG. tier. I don't think it cracks the S tier ranking for me. It's a bit too slow. Slow paced. I think it's unintentional political commentary. Because I don't know how you don't see the political commentary to this. Well, he's dead now, but until he died, George A. Romero would always just say, no, I just picked the best actor for the job. But you literally have a black guy getting killed by cops at the end, even though he wasn't a zombie. You must have known in some way what you were doing. Fucking Nosferatu is an interesting one. B tier, I'd put it there. It's great. Obviously, it's very influential for cinema and horror iconography as a whole. Nosferatu is a very important movie, but I think that it doesn't hold up as well as, some other things do, because it is over 100 years old at this point, I think. Or I think this is the 100th year. It's an old movie. I never saw The Nun. The Omen. There, I put The Omen there. It's good. Damien, creepy. It's got Atticus Finch in it, which is kind of fun. Talks about segregation and all that, of course. Open House. The Orphanage has really good imagery, but the movie itself doesn't actually hold up to the imagery. It's a very strange kind of movie in that way, where it's very creepy, but it seems to get lost in the actual creepy imagery and not in lieu of actually telling a story. Pan's Labyrinth. I don't know if I'd consider that a horror movie, but it's a great movie. I guess it has some horror. I guess it's horror enough, Got the man with the eyeball in the hands and some things, but it's more of a fairy tale than a horror movie in my mind. It's a great movie, don't get me wrong. I actually really like the original Paranormal Activity. I think the original Paranormal Activity is really good. I don't think the sequels they're good in their own way, I think, but I think the prestige and the shock value kind of wore off a little bit. They're kind of a bit too samey for their own good. The original Pet Sematary is a C-list movie that I would put there. And the new one is pretty much the same movie. I just put it one step below. I don't think they really are very distinguishable from each other. The big difference is I think they kill the girl instead of the boy, or the boy instead of the girl. Phantasm. I've not seen the Phantasm movie, sadly. We did watch his Masters of Horror movie show episode. Phase 4 I've not seen. Phenomena, musical horror movie. Really, really, really cool. Okay, Phenomena's great. It has really interesting aesthetic and really good look for a villain, and it just, who the fuck makes a musical horror movie? How do you do that? He did it. He tried. Oh wait, am I thinking of the wrong movie? I think I'm thinking of the Dario Argento. I'm thinking of the wrong movie. I think I'm thinking of the movie. Older Guy. Good. I would say it can go right there. It's not the best movie. I wouldn't say it breaks that tier. It's very iconic, obviously, for what it is. Honestly, I prefer the Simpsons parody to the actual movie itself, but that goes with a lot of things. But I like original Poltergeist a lot. Then the sequel to Poltergeist, I didn't hate. A lot of people hated it, but it was fine, I think. Really, I don't think it it is offensive in any way, shape, or form. I think they had some kind of creepy imagery. It was stupid fun. Possession is wild. Possession is like top of the beat because I think it is such a messy, confusing movie, but it has such interesting ideas in it and such interesting like visuals and shit like that. That I think it's such an interesting movie, but I've seen it like 3 times and I still don't really fully understand it. It's great. Not seen that. Predator, as I said, I'm not as huge on Predator as a lot of people are. The original is definitely the best one. Because I'm actually really not a fan of Predator 2. If I'm going to be honest. And Predators is better, but still honestly like not my favorite thing. And then The Predator I never actually watched, but I did watch Prey, and Prey was great. Prince of Darkness I've not seen, sadly. Prowler I've not seen. Psycho Goreman. Everyone go watch this. This movie's fucking great. There, I'd put it right there. This came out last year or 2020. I don't remember which one, but it is so fucking wild and so crazy. And if you guys know Red Letter Media, Rich Evans has a scene in it.
Something's coming.
This is the tone of the movie. There he is.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
That was in the movie. Good for them. It was like I watched Smiling Friends, that Adult Swim show recently, and I didn't realize the first episode has Mike Stilklaza in it as well. Psycho, what can you say about Psycho? It's obviously goated. One of the best movies ever made, one of the best horror movies ever made. It's beautiful, it's great. Changed the history of cinema forever. What is this? Vague posters. Tell me what the movie is. Pumpkinhead. I've not seen Pumpkinhead. Pumpkinhead 3 or Pumpkinhead 4, and I've not seen any of the Puppet Master movies. Okay. Still so many to go. Like soon. Okay, The Purge, the original Purge, is fine. It's not as good as the rest of them, because the Purge Anarchy at least like takes them out of the streets. I actually put the Purge there. But Purge Anarchy, which I'm even not the biggest fan of, but it's better. It's better than Purge, than the original Purge. Purge Anarchy at least goes out and has like a point. Purge Election Year is the best one, because there they actually go into a lot of what they should do with the Purge and have political ideas and political opinions, because it's such a political ass fucking premise. How the fuck do you not, like the first one, there's obviously politics to it, but it's so toothless and there's nothing really there. It's just kind of like, oh yeah, rich people don't care about poor people. That's really kind of like it. The second one tries to go into that a little bit more. The third one actually tries to have a point to it, which I respect. The first Purge also, I think it's a stupid ass name for a movie, but better. All the Purge movies are fine. I didn't watch this one. I need to still. I didn't watch The Pyramid. Reanimator, you say? Reanimator's cool. I like the head sequence in the Reanimator. I didn't see the second Reanimator or the third Reanimator. The first Rick is so good, man. I don't think people know how good Rick is. Rick is so fucking scary. It's a Spanish found footage horror movie that is so fucking good. I did not expect it to be this good when I watched it. I heard it was like a good horror movie that had good reviews. And I hadn't seen it at that point when I watched it. And I came out of it and I was just like, that was fucking terrifying. That was so exciting, so good, so well shot, constructed. The acting was good. The scares were great. I need to see the sequels, even though the posters for 3 and 4 don't really help. Red Dragon I never actually saw. Repulsion, we don't talk about Roman Polanski, but it's a good movie. It's got really cool imagery at the end of it. I have not seen any other Resident Evil movies at all. Ritual was a pretty okay little... Yeah, it was fine. I remember watching it when it came out on Netflix. It was good. Rosemary's Baby, of course, is... It's A. I wouldn't say it's S, because I don't think... at least for me, some people would disagree with me, but I think it's too long, and I don't think it maintains its tone throughout the whole thing. It's also we don't talk about. The original Saw... The... Saw 2... Yeah. Saw 3, they all kind of like fall in the same weird wavelength. And then I have actually not seen the rest of them. 4, 5, Saw 3D, I didn't see Jigsaw. Spiral was bad. Scanners I've sadly not seen. Original Scream is an S tier movie. Original Scream is incredible. Original Scream is so great because it kind of shifted to talking about movies in the way that Gen X talked about movies, where everything is just about the media you grew up watching. Because kids going to high school in 1995 were talking all the time about the media that they were consuming because that's all they did. It's like now, what the fuck do people talk about? They talk about media. Because that's what we do. We consume media and then we go out and we talk about the media that we consume. That's what I'm literally doing right now. Everything's about media. And what made Scream so good was it was talking about that. It was talking about how we are shaped by the media we consume, and making a horror movie that looks at the horror genre through that kind of lens of people who know how the trappings of the horror genre work. In a way, it could have its cake and eat it too. Scream 2 is also great. Not as good as Scream 1, but it is great. It just expands upon those things. Scream 3 isn't as good. Sadly, it does actually fall off a little bit of a ledge there, but it is still a good movie. It is still a serviceable movie that I still like. Scream 4 I've sadly not seen. 7 is amazing. Yeah, I love 7. It's weird, I've never really seen 7 be considered a horror movie. It is. It definitely is a horror movie. This is the other goat. 2 goats in the horror genre, and it's The Exorcist and The Shining. The Shining similarly, I'd say, to The Exorcist, because when I said The Exorcist was a goat, is because besides the intro, the first 40 minutes of the movie is just a drama. There's not really horror elements to it. The Shining, you know from the start that it's a horror movie. Kubrick makes it very deliberate, but I think the filmmaking in The Shining is so perfect and the acting is so good, and every element of The Shining is so good that it transcends the genre barriers to just being one of the great movies ever. I don't give a shit that it's not the same as the book. I really could care less. I've read the book. The book's good. Every time Stephen King tries to make his version of The Shining, it's not as good as this. That includes a miniseries, and that includes Doctor Sleep, which is fine. I like Doctor Sleep, but it's not nearly as good as this. Bodies, I never saw Bodies. Silence of the Lambs is obviously great. You can't deny how good Silence of the Lambs is. Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins are amazing in it. The story is amazing. More of a thriller than a horror, I'd say, but you could make the argument to me. I've never seen the Silent Hill movies, sadly. Silent Night, Deadly Night. The original Silent Night, Deadly Night is fine. Pretty bad, but it's, does what it needs to do. Fine enough. Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 is fucking awful. It is one of the best scenes in any movie in history. Which I'm sure people have seen.
Garbage day!
Huh? No!
That is as much context as the movie gives you if you watch the whole thing. The worst part about it is the first 30 minutes of not even 30, I'd say 45 minutes of the movie is just a recap of the first movie. You don't have to watch the first 45 minutes of Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2, because apparently they just ran out of budgets. So the movie's only like 82 minutes long. And the first 45 minutes is just a recap of the first movie. I'd put the first. No one can go there. It's fine. It's good enough. Sinister is a great, perfect 2010s C-list horror movie. It does its job. It knows what it's doing. It's not going to go beyond that. There. But I never saw the sequel because people said it wasn't very good. The Sixth Sense is great. Of course, people love The Sixth Sense. We all know what the ending is. We all know it's probably one of Bruce Willis's best movies. And yeah, I don't really have much to say besides that. Slaughter High, I've sadly not seen, even though that poster makes me want to see it very badly. Sleepwalkers, I've not seen. Sleepy Hollow, the aesthetic of it is great, but the actual movie itself is okay. I'd say it's good. I think that poster is awful and does it no services, but the movie itself looks incredible and has a great tone for Halloween. I really want to see Slender Man, because it just, even though I know it's meant to be bad, I want to see it. Slither and Smiley I've not seen. Society is fucking awesome. I love Society to death. I want to watch it on stream soon because it is that fucking good. I don't want to say anything about it. Just the last 20 minutes of Society is some of the best, most fun I've ever had in a movie in my entire life. Split. M. Night Shyamalan's Split. I'd say it's B. I know a lot of people talk about the issues with Split in regards to the way it portrays mental health and the way it portrays neurodivergent people, and can be a bit offensive in that way. But if you look away from that, I think James McAvoy gives a great performance in it, and I think that it has a cool premise, and it does give a lot of creepy vibes off, and it does tell a good story in a good way. I like Split. Strangers is very creepy. That's a great, just tonal movie. I want to watch this on stream as well. I'd put it there. Just below Happy Death Day. I like Strangers a lot. Suspiria is great. It's one of those movies that it took me a while to understand because I thought I was meant to understand it. I watched this movie for the first time and I was just like, I don't know, was I not paying enough attention? Did I just not get it? Did I not know what was going on? I liked the imagery. I thought it looked cool. And then I watched it again and then read reviews and I was just like, oh, that's just the experience you're meant to have. It does just lose its plot halfway through and there's just great, cool imagery. If you're looking for a giallo movie, I wouldn't say start with Suspiria because it's not really a giallo movie. That isn't really a good representation of the genre. There are much more detective movies that have all the cool colors and lightings. Suspiria is much more just a straight psychological, strange horror movie. I really liked the sequel to Suspiria. A lot, actually. They go into like World War II Italian history, which was not what I expected them to do. It's German, isn't it? I think German. I don't remember, but they make it very political. They go in a very different direction to the original, and I think they actually brought something new to the table. There's a lot of really weird stuff and really weird imagery that goes on, and that scene where the girl's bones are cracking is genuinely scary. It can't. Where? What time do you want to leave? Okay. Yeah. 5:30. I'm nearly done. Sweetheart, I don't even know what that is. Terrifier, I haven't seen. TerrorVision is not as good as I'd want it to be. It looks like it should be really fun, but it just kind of is a bit boring. Sadly, like I want TerrorVision to be good. Look at the name; it's called TerrorVision. It should be super fun and super interesting, but it's just kind of a bit lame. I'm sure I haven't seen this movie before I talk about it. Before I say I haven't seen it, because I think TETSUO. TETSUO. If it's this, I've seen this, and this is honestly one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life. It is so strange. It's so interesting. It's so much fun. Doesn't know. I've never seen anything like this really before, and I kind of love it. I would say right there, it has got some of the most interesting imagery I've ever seen in my life in a horror movie. Is Tasiko the Iron Man, and it's just it's so industrial, so experimental. It like harkens back to like French New Wave filmmaking, like avant-garde, Jonas Mekas, Andy Warhol type of filmmaking, while also being like this industrial, incredible special effects horror movie. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is S tier. The scariest movie. Actually genuinely terrifying filmmaking. So grungy. I love the 16 millimeter grainy grunginess. Just gives it such a distinct look that makes it feel like something that you shouldn't be watching, which just adds to the experience. I've not seen the sequel, sadly, which I know I should. I have seen Texas Chainsaw 3D though, and that was very bad. That isn't the one that came out this year. The Birds is good. Birds is good. It's not great. The best thing about The Birds is the incredibly nihilistic ending. One of my favorite readings about, or my favorite ways that people have looked at The Birds is people saying that it's kind of about making a horror movie. It's a movie about making a horror movie in the sense that it's just kind of like birds attack because the movie says they should. There's not really anything that like makes it happen. The movie just kind of goes about it way. The characters just kind of do their thing, and then just birds just appear when they need to. There's no precedent to it. There's no rules or anything. It just kind of happens, and it's great. Hitchcock knew what he was doing. I've not seen the original Fly. I know I should. But I do love me David Cronenberg's Fly. David Cronenberg was the perfect person to make a Fly movie because David Cronenberg loves body horror. I agree with the reading that this movie is about the AIDS crisis during the time. And what's going through Brundle. The character of Brundle is a metaphor to what is happening to a population in American society during the AIDS epidemic, and a critique of the way that people are treating people with AIDS. I do want to watch The Fly too. The Ring is great. Of course, I love The Ring. It's a great movie. I love what Gore Verbinski did with it. I love the weird experimental student filmy look that he did to make the actual tape what it is. Make it about like America. That it's great. Great creepy imagery. I love it. Yes, I know, girl. Rings I never saw. Cabin in the Woods. I'm gonna. Cabin in the Woods is great. It's a perfect critique and send up of Evil Dead kind of movies about people going up to cabin in the woods and like making fun of satirizing horror movies as a concept and satirizing horror movies in general. It's great. It's funny. It's hilarious. The scene where Chris Hemsworth's character dies is amazing. I'm not going to go further than that. The Dead Zone. Dead Zone is very good. It's, again, one that I saw the Simpsons parody before I saw the actual movie. There. Yeah, I really like The Dead Zone a lot. About a guy who can see into the future and see how people die. And it's got Christopher Walken in it. The Empty Man, I saw it was much more boring. It was one of those movies that it was fine. It's C. Like I don't say hate or anything, but The Empty Man was one of those movies that I'm pretty sure studios pay places like Variety to write articles about it being the scariest movie ever made is coming out. That's what we heard when we saw Goodnight Mommy in 2015. That was like meant to be the scariest movie of all time. Look at this trailer. Look how scary this is going to be. The Empty Man is such a scary, terrible, terrifying movie. And then you watch it and it's just kind of like, oh, that was it. It's kind of just about a cult, really, at the end of the day. Is usually what they kind of boil down to. And The Empty Man's fine. It's kind of creepy. It's way too long. It gets a bit too boring at the end. But I like some of it. I like the imagery. It's shot pretty well. I've not seen The Grudge, sadly. The Meg, I never. I like The Night House. It came out last year. It came out last year. And was pretty actually fucking dark. It takes a twist halfway through. The movie makes a decision that I think some people will be on board with and some people won't be on board with. And depending on your specific disposition to those kind of movies, it will depend on, if you like it or not. I was interested when they first took that turn, but at the end of the day, thought like that was the right way to take that story. And I thought it was really creepy. I really liked it. I thought the lead actress's performance, his name is escaping me right now, was really good. And yeah, the others, obviously, I did not see the twist coming. right there. The others, weirdly enough, came out in 2001. Nicole Kidman, very famous horror movie. I saw this like in 2014 or something like that. Never heard anything about the twist. Never saw it coming. Did not see it coming when I watched it. I was watching this movie. I was like, huh. Ghost movie. I was just like, what? Yeah. Did not see the twist coming. Liked it a lot. The Visit was a movie I saw in an empty theater by myself. And I think that helped push its, pushed how much I liked it. I put it there. I don't think it's a perfect movie in any way, shape. I think it being found footage actually hurts the movie quite a bit. I understand why they did it, because they would save money that way. And I think it's a fun little spooky little horror creepy movie about sundowners and all that kind of stuff. But you know, I think it's fine. I think it was what M. Night Shyamalan needed at that point in his career. They needed to split afterwards, which was good. The original Wicker Man is right there. It's there. I can't. It has to be. It's too good. It's too creepy. There's too much good imagery in it. I need to watch it again because I need to re-understand it. I need to watch it again because I need to re-understand it. I need to re-remind myself of what it is and why I loved it so much. But from what I remember, it does a lot. It has a lot of very interesting ideas about like puritanical belief system and all that kind of stuff. And the funny part about the Nicolas Cage sequel, which is more famous now than the original, is that it just completely changed that to be about men versus women, which takes away the entire point of the movie's existence. It's not about Christianity, then it's not a movie. And it's nothing. They Live is it is too flawed of a movie to be an A tier, but I fucking love They Live because it is just the perfect send-up of Reagan era American politics. It is a great idea to see like how cynical people viewed that period of time. Realize that despite what the propaganda wants you to believe, not everyone during the 80s loved what Reagan was doing to the country. He wasn't the most popular president of all time. There were people that fundamentally disagreed with him. And if you want to see that, go look at They Live. It's a great send-up and harsh satire of hyper-capitalistic, hyper-consumerist 80s culture where everything's just about buy. Great movie. It's too flawed. There's too much going on. It doesn't manage to keep a consistent narrative throughout the whole time when it gets lost in its own sources a lot of the time. It has a great fight scene in it, though. The Thing is an S tier. Of course it is. You can't not say this thing is an S tier. A lot of people consider this the best horror movie of all time. I get it. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it is genuinely incredible. It is one of the best horror movies I've ever made. It is so tight. I prefer Halloween myself when it comes to John Carpenter movies, but anyone who says that this is their favorite John Carpenter movie, I will not fight you on that. He does so much here. He tells such a good story. He manages to create such interesting visuals. The special effects are just out of the fucking world in this movie. Please go watch it. It's great. I'm sure you've seen it though. Train to Busan, I loved as well. I'd put it just there. It's one of the best zombie movies to come out recently. It is one of the best takes on zombie movies. It's incredibly emotional. South Korea is so killing it now in the media that it's exporting into the US. They've just been pushing out such quality content, and obviously we're only getting the stuff that we're only getting part of the picture of what we're going to see. We're not seeing everything. Everything that they're putting out, we're not living in South Korea and just consuming 90% of the content. We're getting most of the good stuff, but the good stuff is fucking good. Tremors as well is really just fun. I don't really have much else to say about Tremors. Just being really just a good, solid, fun. Triangle I never actually saw. I wanted to. Trick or Treat I love. It's perfect Halloween viewing. It's not a perfect movie. I think it's actually, out of all the A-tier movies, it's very flawed in a lot of ways, but it is so good and it is so creepy and it just understands the tone. They've been talking about making a sequel forever, and I hope they do, because I would love to just go back into that world. Unfriended is so fucking stupid, but I actually kind of love it. Like, we've all seen Unfriended. It's, the movie about where they just screen recorded and then made a movie around it. But it's good. I didn't see Dark Web. Us. Jordan Peele's Us. I love Us. When I was talking earlier about Get Out, I said Get Out is Jordan Peele's best movie because it's the only one where I feel, out of the three, it's the only one where I feel like he manages to find the line between the metaphor and the story. Whereas his other movies, Get Us and Nope, fall too heavily on trying to put the metaphor, find a story in service of the metaphor instead of finding the metaphor within the story. I don't care that much about that. I love Jordan Peele's way of telling a story where he's so obsessed with just having these hardcore metaphors that just sprawl out, where we just see the inside of his mind trying to talk about the American experience, the American Black experience currently, and how Us is about how wealthy Black Americans feel guilty because they feel like they're class betrayers and they're leaving the other side alone. And how do you do that while also looking out for yourself and your family? And how America has this upper and lower class that just people try and just not look at and not talk about and just push away where we can't see them. It's a really good, very biting satire. But if you look at it just as a story without any of the metaphors, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Because I just remember speaking to a friend of mine and I was like, I love Us. And he's like, how? That movie fucking sucked. And I just told him all this shit and he's like, well, I didn't get any of that. I was like, yeah, if you just look at the movie as a complete surface level, there's really nothing there to it. It's stupid. It's like government's putting people underground to do these weird experiments on them and then just kind of forgot about it and then let them eat rabbits and everything. It's stupid and doesn't make any sense. But if you look at it as just the metaphor, it's great. Oh, Lord, I'm talking too much. A VHS. First VHS I liked a lot. The second VHS is actually even better, I think, than the first one. They're about the same kind of movie. Say they're both fine. They're not going to blow your mind in any way, shape, or form. I never watched VHS Viral because all my friends told me it was bad. VHS 94 I did watch last year, and I thought I think it's as good as those other two. VHS 94, like some of the stories, the last one with the preppers, the Doomsday Preppers, I didn't think was as interesting. But like the Ratmo one was really cool. The Scientist one was really cool. And VHS 2, I think, was the one that had the cult one, which I really enjoyed. Man, I've been talking a lot. Videodrome. Incredible movie. Incredible satire of media and how media consumes us and how media is just like this all-encompassing thing in our lives and culture and how it's affecting like our complete selves. Incredible movie, incredible. As much as he's a weirdo, James Wood's performance now. I love Videodrome to pieces. One of David Cronenberg's best movies. Thanks. The Village is a very interesting movie because it's shot incredibly well. But it's not very good. I don't know. It's weird. It's not even that scary for most of it. It's like the scariness is just kind of like in the background to like weird drama that's actually going on with the main characters, and the twist is so fucking telegraphed that it's really easy to see and not difficult to it's not difficult to guess. But besides that, I think that it's photographed well enough, and there's enough interesting ideas in it that I would say that it's worth watching and kind of interesting, but it's not great, but it looks incredible. The Virus I didn't see. Void kind of sucked. I like the idea of it, but it just wasn't great. The Witch is a tier movie because it is so creepy. Yeah, I really like The Witch. I like the way it was shot. I need to watch it. You need to watch it with subtitles, or you will not understand what the fuck the father is saying, because they speak in like old-timey English, as well as the father has the deepest voice I've ever heard on a human being in my life. It's like Tom Waits went through a meat grinder. But besides that, as the fucking Black Phillip look, the ending I really enjoy. I think the ending, it stays with you, which I like a lot about it. It feels creepy the whole way through, and you know something's going to break at some point, and when it finally does, I think the ending does live up to that. I don't know what that is. The Woman in Black has a really cool shot in it, with that very long take where you just see Daniel Radcliffe walking around the house in silence for like 20 minutes. Besides that, the movie isn't really too much to talk about. World War Z is so okay. It is so fine. It is like, I really don't have much to say about World War Z. Besides just like, it's good, I guess. Sure, why not? Extro. It's so weird. It's a very strange movie. Kind of dumb, very dumb, but I love that kind of. There's a movie, I think of this Extra in the same vein as, they don't have it on here sadly, but it's called The Pit, which is incredible. I love The Pit to death because it is so fucking stupid. The Pit is this movie about this kid that just finds this pit in the middle of a forest with like troglodytes that eat humans in it, and the whole movie is just about him trying to lure people into the pit so they can get eaten by the troglodytes who are his friends now. And Extra is also just like, Extra is not that dumb, but it's like this space alien monster that just haunts this family and this group of people. It's like, this is what it looks like. Where is he? It's dumb, but it's the kind of dumb that I love. Your Next is actually genuinely a creepy movie. It's similar to The Strangers. I think these two are like pretty much the same kind of movie, but they're both very, very good. And for a lot of people, that's the kind of horror movie that they really latch onto, because it's about something real, you know? You know, you're not going to have your doll come to life and kill you. You know, you're not going to have a weird ghost that haunts your things and turns it into a weird Japanese hyper stylized haunting experience. Okay, you're not going to have Evil Dead come from the ground. You're not going to have Silent Bites come and attack you. This isn't going to happen. You're not going to have your best friend turn into a werewolf. But people can break into your house and torture you and your family. That is a thing that can happen. That is why these kind of movies really creep and really resonate out with a lot of people. Oh, Zombieland. I love it. The first Zombieland movie makes me so happy. It's a movie that it's a movie that just makes me think of a time where I was 13, played video games with my best friends. We'd watch movies as soon as they'd like go and rent movies as soon as they came out on DVD because we didn't even watch them in theaters, and then we'd go back home, have pizza, play video games, and then watch like 2 horror movies, and then go to bed at midnight, which felt like late for us. I fucking loved it. I love Zombieland. It just brings me to that period of my life. It's one of those things where I don't actually care what the quality of the movie is. Similar to 2018 Halloween, it triggers a certain memory in my life that means something to me, makes me happy, and that is why it is where it is. And I didn't see the sequel. Oh yeah, that's it. That's the list. The other movie that I said would be GOAT tier for me if it was on here, but isn't for some reason, is Eraserhead. I love Eraserhead. I think Eraserhead is one of the best movies ever made. It's one of my favorite movies ever made. I think there's a case for that actually being David Lynch's best movie. But yeah, I love it. Oh my lord, I spoke for fucking 2 solid hours straight. My throat hurts as shit. And I'm going to a concert now, so we'll see how that goes for me.